anytime there's like a cop episode involved, like when Annie and Shirley are like the campus
That's
security for the day. Your
yeah.
badges and your windbreakers now. Now! Agitating my sciatica. We welcome you to week 8 of Wilk and Wish, your bi-weekly updates, or just weekly updates now, on Utah athletes in the
Might
National
be
Football
bi-weekly
League.
again someday, but right
Yeah,
now,
we're
weekly's
we're
hitting it.
we're in a phase of life where weekly is gonna do donkey.
Yeah.
That's what is gonna happen. So, and especially given what we have to talk about this week, we were just do. I don't think we could do a 40-minute recap if we wanted to
We'd be talking
about,
about our fantasy football teams and how I
yeah.
offered you a little trade in Dynasty this week that was rejected within literal seconds of it going through. Like Tanner was on his phone, saw the notification, said, "Not today."
I wondered if you were going to bring that up today. And I wonder if you were going to text me, whoa, that was fast. Because he's not exaggerating. I happened to have my phone open. I'm like, ooh, a trade notification. Saw it.
No,
Was like, not interested in that.
it's not the move. See,
Which was,
we'll talk a little after, but
sure,
I
sure.
had reasons. It wasn't a bad guys. It
No, no,
wasn't
no,
a
no,
bad trade. It wasn't an
no.
insulting trade.
No, it was just one. I have my mind made up about the player Cole's trying to get to me. He's just not available right
Yeah,
now. I mean, everyone's available, but
but you got to go over the top for some
yeah,
guys, and I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. And it wasn't an awful offer. I have
Yeah.
received.
Oh, we both have.
We've texted each other what our insulting offers have been from other people. But
Correct.
anyway, well, let's get to it this week. This guy might be our player of the week. Because punters are people too. Ryan Rico on a Thursday night win, three punts, 135 yards, one inside the 20, had a long of 60
But in the
in the
Cincinnati
game.
offense's best game that they've played so far. So the Bengals and Joe Flacco, not Joe Burrow for the Bengals, were able to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers just had it right in front of them, right? You see the Ravens at 1-5. They go into a bye. Lamar has been out, and you have an opportunity to go up on a Cincinnati team that everyone else has been beating up on, and you don't do it. And everyone's comment after the game was, "Oh, Joe Flacco's seen this Steelers defense 100 times before, so that's why he carved him up." Man never carved him up like this when he was playing for the Ravens. The joke about every Steelers Ravens rivalry game was that it would end 23-20 or something like always in prime time, always a low scoring. This is the most successful and the most composed Joe has looked in the pocket against a Steelers defense in his whole career. It's not that he's seen this before. It's that the Steelers did a bad job on this specific day, even while their offense and Jalen Warren for 16 carries and 127 yards did do a really good job against a Cincinnati defense that's Swiss cheese. Joe Flacco just scored more.
I usually give our player of the week to a winner. It's up. It might go to someone who lost a game this
Yeah.
week, given how few performances we even have to talk about.
And one last thing on that Thursday night game, I was watching that game on my phone while at a Jazz preseason game. I was
Oh,
driving up and
yeah.
then my buddy was driving. I try not to watch football while I'm behind the wheel, but anywhere else, it's fair game. And then got to see the Jazz new court and the Jazz Utah connections, right? The Jazz get a win day
At
one,
what?
and Tanner's wearing the Jazz hat.
Yeah. Look, they're not gonna like. I know this is a football show. The Jazz aren't
82
gonna
and
be
0.
good. Like for people that like got, there are definitely some people that are overhyped after one game against the oldest team in the NBA. Like
Yeah.
I was surprised it went that badly. Like, I mean, at one point it was a plus 35 point game. I wouldn't have predicted that. But if you would have told me the Jazz won week on opening night, a lot of bad teams get opening night
Yeah.
wins in all
And it's 1 out of
sports.
82 and it doesn't matter as much as every single game in the NFL, which is why I always I've always leaned towards football in my fandom because
Sure, every
it
game
feels
matters.
impactful and I don't want to miss a single game, which
Yeah.
is why even though I was at a game, I was watching to me the more important game on my phone.
No, it's still yeah, it's still sports.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you look at the impact of a 17 game season versus an 82 game season, and yeah. Jaxson Dart probably should be our player of the week again. But
I
he
don't
goes 15 of 33 for 283 yards, did throw three touchdowns, ran in a go-ahead touchdown in the fourth
Yes.
quarter that ended up.
Well, go ahead at the time.
That's yeah, that's a good point.
Uh-huh.
At that moment, put them ahead in the fourth quarter, but he threw it. awful, awful interception. Like one of those classic rookie
And very
interceptions.
early in the drive, they just had to take a little bit of more time on that drive and do a little bit more into the field and maybe get a field goal. And you were putting the Broncos away at that point and just immediately. So Bo Nix runs into the end zone. There's no holding called on Evan Ingram right there on the edge as he's just waltzing in. And then the floodgates open and the Giants can't control it. And the biggest collapse that we've seen in the NFL in the past,
Two
purely from
weeks.
a collapse standpoint, this year, that's the worst.
Yeah. As bad as the Cardinals one was, like that was pretty bad. You saw how upset after the game Brian Daboll was, knowing that they
Mm-hmm.
could have got a win against a really good team, should have
Yeah.
got a win against a good team. But yeah, that's the rookie quarterback experience.
And
I feel like,
against a Broncos defense that is, we've always acknowledged. I thought maybe there would be some regression because defense is really hard to stay consistent. No, the Broncos have been strong, and that is a point of pride on this team. And Jaxson Dart was okay for most of the game and just wasn't for one play, and it got uncontrollable. Bobby Wagner on defense and the Washington Commanders
oof,
got 8 tackles in a loss that they shouldn't have had.
gave up 44 to Dak. Now Dak's playing really well.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and the fact that CD's paired with George Pickens opens up a whole other load of things for them that maybe seems a little unfair. But yeah, Washington just couldn't keep up. Jordan Love, in a win over the Arizona Cardinals, goes just 19 for 29, 179 yards and a touchdown. Did what he needed to do to get the win there. My brother, by the way, went to this game kind of last minute, so he will have gone
Okay.
to three Packers games in 3 weeks against in three different locations between Green Bay, Arizona. He'll be in Pittsburgh Sunday night
Yes,
for
that's
that.
the one.
Likely our guest next week. Likely, I say, just because you never know. But uh, yeah, I was a little surprised that it was this close. But the Cardinals have officially set the record for they've tied the record with the 2017 49ers for most or least amount of point differential in a 5 game losing streak in NFL
Wow.
history. 13
Yeah,
points.
love to see it.
Was not surprised the way that that ended up going down. So
I'd like to
anyway,
see their fourth quarter point totals over the past
ooh,
5 games.
it's not good, Bob. It's not good.
Not good.
And I wasn't I like I got some people. Oh, are you upset your brother's team beat you?
Not this year. We
BYU beat
we knew
Utah
it.
the night before, and you think I'm upset about another football game? Bear
This is going to
Bach
carry you for about 365 days until BYU and Utah play again.
Bear Bachmeyer had his first child the night before, and you think I'm upset about a team that I know isn't good and isn't expected to win? Please,
Yeah.
please.
Oh yeah.
Caden Ellis was good for the Falcons. Their offense regressed back to the median, though. Oh, well, below the median, if we're being honest. 9 tackles, a pick, and a quarterback hit for Caden.
And then also on Monday night, we're done with the double Monday nights, but
Ugh,
also on Monday night, Dalton Schultz for the Texans, 9 receptions, 98 yards.
his
He's been
better
a sneaky
game.
fantasy pickup, and also just
Yeah,
like tight ends around the league have been so good. I have leagues where I'm starting tight ends in my flex for the first
same,
time in a very long time, and there
same.
there are competitive 12 team leagues that I'm playing in where Dalton Schultz and these 18.8 points that he got just sitting in the waiver wire for anyone to pick up. Tight end is deep for the first time that I can remember playing fantasy football.
Maybe tight end U is paying off where they do that over the summer.
Yeah.
I'm
And this week is going to be National Tight Ends Day. So
That's right. That's
you
right.
know that the broadcasters are going to be talking about it. You know some tight ends are going to get into the end zone because they know about it. Start your tight ends in the flex this week, including Dalton Schultz.
And Dalton Kincaid, the Daltons from Utah,
Yeah.
with the connections. Kincaid should play this week, from what I understand,
Yeah.
coming off their bye. So, Cole, player of the week. I don't like to pick guys who lost the game, but it wasn't this guy's fault. I got to go with Jalen Warren. Like
I
to
was
have
leaning
that
Jalen
many
Warren as well.
yards on that few amount of carries, even though they lost the game, like wasn't his fault, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I was leaning Jalen Warren as well. I don't have quite a hard of a rule to not pick the losers because just when you're you're playing. We have a limited pool that we're picking from, and so when guys get those kind of highlights, I get excited about it.
Yeah.
And so Jalen Warren's my guy.
I mean, Jordan Love capped it, was the starter in a win. Ryan Rico has punted so much that it was good to see him
This is
not.
the
He
worst
only
Ryan
had
Rico
three
game we've
punts.
seen this season, though. Like worst as in like didn't have the opportunities.
Yeah, but he still had a long of 60, so we'll give him a little love there. We now welcome in our guest, who is the only person I know that loves Dua Lipa more than I do. He and for as many things as Dawson, I could have gotten close over. It's ironic that that might be it, Cole. Uh,
Pop stars, sure.
pretty blonde or pretty uh, what did I text you the other day, Doss? You're a simple-minded man. You like pretty dark-haired women and breakfast food. And he is
Yeah.
he love what he loves. Do you love the Denver Broncos more than you love Dua Lipa?
Who, yeah, yeah,
No, if she was real, if she came up to you and said, "This week you have to wear whoever like you can't root for the Broncos in the Super Bowl," you would fold immediately.
yeah. I did say I'd get honeypotted in any kind of political intrigue, espionage by Dua Lipa, so that's
That's
fair.
right.
Oh, well,
Yeah, probably.
so the good news, though, Doss, you didn't have. That's not going to happen. And the Broncos pulled off what Cole and I were talking. We thought I'm kind of glad as a Cardinals fan now we don't have to talk about the Titan collapse as much as
Yeah.
what Giant fans are going through right now. Now the Giants at least have a somewhat answer at quarterback for the foreseeable future, but take us through kind of phase by phase of what it was like as a Broncos fan watching that game on Sunday.
Yeah, so this past Sunday, I went over to a friend because he and his brother and their roommate all watch F1. So we started out watching the game, and they're from the Denver, Colorado area. So we're like, oh, let's keep watching the Broncos game. And it was just like, why are we doing this? Like, is Sean Payton the answer? It just seems like it's so predictable. Some rollout, and then Nix just launches it 40 yards over a receiver's head, or we do some bubble screen. And like, bubble screens do not work in the NFL. Why? Like, so we're just pissed. And then we go and we get a
Well, when
touchdown.
it's
I'm
the
like,
only
what
thing that
the
your quarterback can throw, you kind of got to lean into
heck?
it. And yeah.
We get a 2-point conversion. Then we're like, like maybe we can pull it off, like it was 19-8 at that point. And then there's that tip deflection that goes to, I think Bellinger is his name, and he runs it in for a touchdown. I'm like, why does God do this? Like the cruelest thing in the world is hope, especially in sports. It's just like, oh, we're coming back, and then that happens. Like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's just like keeps going. Oh, I have Knicks on my fantasy team, so I'm like, okay, let's keep going. And I got Cortland, so I'm like, all right. And it just seems to be that our offense is nothing happens until, for whatever reason, the defense is like, we don't need to double team Cortland Sutton anymore, and then we just go down the line. So that was pretty exciting. And then when Knicks ran in that like QB power left for the touchdown, we're just like losing our minds. And we go, then we get the lead, and we're just like pumped. We're like, what the heck? There's like a minute left. I'm like, okay, our defense is elite. We're gonna be fine. And I was watching a video today, actually. Akeem Talib's talking about Riley Moss, and he's like, Riley Moss is a good guy. Like every great cornerback gets 50% of their passes completed. The thing is they only have like 25 to 50 targets a season, whereas Riley Moss is going to have like 150 targets a season.
Because who's on the other side?
Riley Moss, the
No, who's
exciting one.
why are they not
Oh,
firing it to him? Is the reigning
yeah,
defensive player of the year?
yeah. The rated defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain, the second PS2, and what I that pass interference call, like obviously I'm a Broncos fan. I was a little biased, but I'm like he whips his head around and like he is looking back. So that one was a little iffy. And
Oh,
then they
I'm
run,
very anti that call. Yeah.
yeah, and
Also,
they run,
terrible throw by Jaxson Dart. That is the classic,
yeah,
just like underthrow it and hope you get the flag. And
yeah,
it worked.
it works. Like it's jumping into the defender when you pull up for a shot in the NBA. Like they talk
Trash.
about how they need to figure out something. And we're just sitting there like they're gonna run this in for a touchdown and we're gonna lose. What are we gonna do here? And Jaxson Dart runs it in. My buddy's like, actually, like 37 seconds. I think we had a timeout as well. Like, that's not the worst thing. Like, if they were gonna do this, like, we might as well let them in.
Pass interference took it right down the field faster than Jackson Dart probably could have.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, we got 37 seconds to tie it up. And this is the moment where we're like, we might win the game. It's that poor kicker who I think is like some fill-in goes up, misses it, had missed it wide left, and now he misses it wide right. And we're like, holy crap, like we could possibly do this. Like this is it. Get the return. We're like, that's kind of an okay return. And then Bonix loads it up, launches it. It's supposed to go to Cortland, but Troy Franklin's just right there and it hits him in the gut. And then, like everyone rushes down, they spike the ball. We're like, okay, we got like 15 seconds. We can maybe do another deep out and get like a manageable kick for Lutz. And he just rifles it down the sideline. Cortland Sutton picks up. It looks like he's about to go spin it and like celebrate, but then he has like this moment of clarity, runs down, they spike it 2 seconds, kick the field goal. I was like, did that just happen? Like we
Done.
just won. Like stood up and everyone was like high fiving. We're like, we're the greatest team ever. Like I need to start budgeting for Super Bowl tickets. So it is quite the dichotomy of like your emotions from the first 46 minutes of the game to the last 14. But yeah, it was so fun and just like, all right, maybe there is something here.
Well, the flip side of that, as the one who's seen his team collapse,
Yeah.
my wife had to run an errand over to her mom during the fourth quarter of Arizona, Tennessee. And when she
Yeah.
came home, she said, "What was the final score?" I said 22-21. And she said, but Arizona was 21. You can't I know, because it was
Yeah.
21-6 when she left. But no, I have a Broncos coworker who was, beyond thrilled the next day at work. I think just seeing Twitter, seeing the way everywhere, it was the national talk. For as boring as that opening window was,
Yeah.
the late window was pretty spectacular, led by that game. So made up
Yeah.
after a boring morning.
It's great. I mean, we can't let the Falcons ever live down the 28-3, but that might be one of the best comebacks I've seen. Other than Max Verstappen, he's making it happen. I don't know if you guys are F1 fans, but it was also an amazing race weekend for him and his World Driver Championship
This is
comebacks.
why we bring you on, Doss.
I think
A
this
little
is the
culture
first
to the
this is
pod.
the first F1 we've had on the pod in
You
three
guys should
years.
get into it. It's a great time.
Doss, are you a soccer guy too? Are you like a EuroLeagues?
I would like the World Cup, when nationalism's on the line. That's
Okay.
when I get into soccer, and I am a fan of like
Alex
the
Morgan.
Ted Lasso. Yes. Man, you just like nailing all of them. Like 14-year-old Alex, ESPN top 10. I was just like, who is this Cal soccer player? I love her. Or whatever, wherever she went. But yeah, I would love to go to like a Real Madrid game or some English league game, I think, but I'm not super into it.
All right.
I finished Ted Lasso the other day, like 2 days ago. Finally finished it. Really
Yeah.
good final episode, I thought. For his like, season three's, I like season two the best. I think that's the deepest. That's like the most, you know, makes you think the most. Season three was still good. It was still really good television, but that
Yeah.
finale was great. Loved the way that, I like that they didn't win the Premier League title. I'm like,
Hmm.
this is too fairy tale-ish. Like, oh, they come up just short. That's my key to a good birthday. Low expectations. Whoever wrote that maybe wrote the Phil Dunphy line too in Modern Family. But anyway, let's get to some picks. Cole, where do we sit
Seth still
after?
has the number to beat. 10-5 is the best record, and we have more buys. This is, I think, the
Yeah,
the
dude.
deepest bye week, and so you
Yeah,
have fewer games to go on. Doss, you got to get them perfect for you. So 10-5 is the percentage to beat. Just last week, we had another guest go below 500. It was a
oof.
funky week, but
Yeah.
Brant went 7-8. Tanner, you went 9-6. I went 11-4. So I've got a 3-game lead on the season series.
Okay.
I love Brant, but he picked with his heart and
He
not his
picked
brain last
against the
week.
Chiefs with the Raiders, and
What?
that game could have been played 100 times, and I'm not sure the
Yeah.
Raiders get one.
Diehard Bills fan. Yeah, and
Mm.
oh, that was so bad.
We all hate him. So
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, that's just yeah. Anyway, all right,
UTEP.
all right. Let's get to Thursday night football. Minnesota and the LA Chargers. Boy, the Chargers are so banged up right now. It is just a travesty what could have been with a healthy roster. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I'm going to be pretty boring in my picks this week. I'm going to take Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm taking the
They're the
Chargers in
underdog.
the supercharger jerseys. So we go straight from the weird yellow of last week to the classic 80s and 90s Charger look. And I just, in prime time, I trust Harbaugh, and the Minnesota quarterback situation is what's keeping him right now out of the playoffs in a very competitive NFC.
Yeah. As an Oregon fan, the sad Herbert meme is really hurting. But I think when you have a practice squad offensive line against Brian Flores, even with just a star-studded wide receiver cast, you have to go the Vikings.
Miami and Atlanta, I am taking the really one of the underrated stories because it's defense and people don't like talking about defense. It's not as sexy, but the fact that the Falcons are number one in DVOA and a lot of the advanced metrics on a defense that for years couldn't run, couldn't pressure, couldn't get after the quarterback, and then even just coming into the year didn't seem like they had turned a lot around. They have. Miami's defense is already terrible and their offense has been disappointing. I take the Falcons.
Yeah, Atlanta drafted really well this year. Like this is a really good rookie class. All after all those years of throwing top 10 picks at skill position guys, they finally buckled down and got multiple studs in the draft defensively, and those guys have brought a lot of energy. I like Atlanta as well.
Yeah, even if Penix doesn't play, he got Kirk Tober, so I'm picking the Falcons. I think this is the game that McDaniels gets fired.
Yeah, how has
I
that not
don't.
happened
I
yet?
just because Miami's ownership just isn't leaning that way. It's going to take them too long. And
Uh, I mean, there were rumors about them wanting to go and get a disciplinarian type, but I don't know if that's just like Twitter propaganda or
I mean,
what.
that's just after you have the young nerd offensive guru, you go after the hard nosed big like just
Yeah,
guy. It's just
I
how
feel
all
like
coaching goes.
he'd be a great OC. I think he's going to have a really hard time shaking that persona, unfortunately, because I do think he is very, very smart. But yeah, I bet like Dan Campbell or Vrabel or someone like that picks him up at some point as an OC or QB coach or something.
Tanner's Cardinals are on bye, but I said it 3 weeks ago that the best team that'll make a great turnaround next year will be the team that picks up McDonald as the OC and Jonathan Gannon as their DC. They're great at what they do. They just couldn't control a locker room.
The Jets are in Cincinnati. Boy, our group chat with our friend who works for the Jets was sure fun on Sunday. My
Yeah.
gosh. And Cole and I both picked them last week.
We did.
Uh, I think
Really?
they play better with Tyrod Taylor. I actually was at the game where Justin Fields got concussed and they put Tyrod in. Like
Hmm.
we know what Tyrod Taylor is at this point. I still don't think it's enough to beat Cincinnati. I think there's some good vibes going the Bengals' way now with Joe Flacco, and the Jets are just so bad. They're just so bad. The
Yeah.
ownership comments aren't helping anything right now, and they
Yeah.
never have. I'm going to take Cincinnati.
We know what Tyrod is, but what Tyrod is getting worse each year, right? He was a capable backup 10 years ago, and now he's like, you see guys like Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady or whatever, when they play into their late 30s and 40s, you had to have been good in the first place before that regression starts to hit. Russell Wilson, he had
Mm.
a deep ball and a great defense for Seattle, but we've seen as he's gotten older, it's hit him harder. I don't think Tyrod is even a capable backup right now, but I'm gonna keep picking the Jets as they go up against really bad teams
Really?
until they do it.
I think Joe Flacco has just revitalized everyone. Like the game plan is give Jamar Chase 20 plus targets and T. Higgins 10 plus targets, and you will win. I think he is able to get the ball out quick enough. I think he has a strong enough arm that he can, like, if they break deep and there's not a lot of pressure, like Jamar, like as Jamar says, I am always open. Just throw me the ball. Like
See, but
I
Aaron Glenn, who
can't pick
swears by
against
man
nobody.
coverage on the outside, they are
Yeah,
not going to let what the Steelers did happen
yeah,
again. It's going to be Sauce on Jamar all day, which is just
yeah.
it's going to be a little bit more pushback.
But then who's going to cover T like that? And then Noah Fant's having a little bit of a revival. out there, which is exciting. So, yeah, I'm going Bengals. I don't think you can pick against Joe Flacco.
Uh, that's a smart pick, but
Said in the year of our Lord 2025.
ugh.
Love it.
How about the team that let Joe Flacco walk in favor of a couple rookies? Dylan Gabriel's Browns go up against the division leading and like surging New England Patriots. I take the Patriots again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
New England's
How
got
are
this.
they good?
It's crazy how well Vrabel has meshed with Drake May. Like I knew that would probably end up being a really good pairing, but how quickly they figured some things out. And they just play hard. New England plays really hard. I feel like the accountability factor that was there with Belichick and still some douchiness out of Vrabel, but much less. And players are like able to have fun while also being held accountable. It's a good mix, if you will, up there in New England right now. So yeah, Patriots win big.
Yeah, the Titans letting Vrabel leave and then the Browns letting Vrabel leave was just two huge mistakes. I think he did a good job waiting to see which team he wanted to that 1 year off. And I this is going to be crazy that they're going to be good for another decade and a half as long as May stays healthy. Vrabel's got it locked in. Kraft has his guy. Like I don't see this change. Like this could be another just Patriots dynasty. So definitely Patriots over Browns. But I will say, Browns, I think, have a sneaky good young core. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
know, if they can get past this Deshaun Watson contract, because you got Fannin, you've got Isaiah Bond, you've got
Quinshon
Judkins.
Judkins.
Quinton Judkins with Dylan Sampson, like that's good. And then they have a good O line and some studs on defense. Like it really is, how do you clear out that bad contract and get a quarterback figured out? And Stefanski's like a two-time coach of the year. I think they like are just like, we've got to wash this and we'll get to the next year.
I will
Yeah,
say
watch.
I like that they haven't got like blamed the Deshaun Watson thing on Stefanski. Like they have not put
Yeah.
that all on him. Like
Well, I think
good for the
Stefanski didn't
Browns.
want it.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Like
We're never really gonna know the truth until 20 years later we get a documentary made. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know who wanted the Deshaun Watson thing and letting Baker go amidst all of it. I think the Will Campbell, the rookie offensive line versus Myles Garrett of this game is going to be the
ooh.
thing to watch.
Yeah.
Seems like we were just doing this game 2 weeks ago because we were the Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles again. Eagles have only lost twice. The Giants were one of them. I don't think they do it twice in a year. I'm going to take Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think that deflation from blowing the game against Denver is almost too big at this point. Philly still got some things to figure out. AJ Brown's still kind of being a turd, but I don't think Philly lets this happen on their home field.
Yeah, they need to get the offensive run game lined up. I feel like it's like, okay, we got to make our receivers happy or we do our identity. And that's been back and forth, but fool me once, fool me twice kind of thing. I definitely think the Eagles just take it to them at this point.
The one thing that we've always penciled in, like Eagles just have the best offensive line in the league, has not really been true this year. They've had a couple injuries, right, especially on the right side, but still, Saquon needs to get a little bit. He was seeing better holes in his last year in New York than he saw last couple weeks
Yeah.
in Philadelphia, which is shocking.
Buffalo heads to Carolina, Battle of the Stevens Bros. Our guest from last week's Younger Brother's a Panthers fan. Was freaking out about Buffalo, but again, we talked about this. They do this every year, lose a couple games that seem a little abnormal. It's the Panthers, the worst 4-3 team maybe in the history of the NFL. I take Buffalo, and I take Buffalo big coming off a bye week. They're getting a few bodies back too.
I've had two rules for the 3 years that we've done this show. It's always pick the new coach, pick the interim head coach after a guy's fired, and always pick Andy Dalton the first week that he plays. And I'm breaking both of them this year. I couldn't bring it in me to pick the Titans last week, and I do not pick the Carolina Panthers against this Bills team coming off a bye.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. Bills by pig.
Chicago and Baltimore, all of us Lamar Jackson fantasy managers are waiting eagerly to see if Lamar Jackson will be cleared. And the Bengals start winning. A lot of us picked the Bengals, and even though I didn't, I think that the Bengals will probably win. The Ravens can't afford to lose a couple more in this division, or all of the MVP in the world out of Lamar Jackson in the back half of the year won't matter. And so I think that the Ravens get this win against Chicago.
Yeah, I think coming off a bye is really beneficial for them. I think Lamar's going to play. I really do. I think there's just too much on the line at this point. They had the full bye week. And I think Chicago has been punching a little bit above their weight. As good as Ben Johnson's been as the head coach and really started to change the culture there, I think Baltimore is going to play a little more desperate on Sunday.
Yeah. Watch out, NFL. Here comes Lamar, is my mindset. Ravens.
Chicago 4-2 with a negative point differential, by the way. The 49ers play the Houston Texans. The Niners are as injured as any team could possibly be, and yet their pass rush is like even without Nick Bosa and even without a bunch of guys, their pass rush is still better than the worst offensive line I've ever seen, and so San Francisco will get this win.
Yeah, I think Houston gives this a good game because they also play desperate, but I'm taking the Niners. Just who's going to get sacrificed this week to keep McCaffrey healthy, honestly. Like what is going on there? But I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah, Shanahan's going to be coach of the year, I think. I think they make the playoffs, and so I'm going Niners.
Tampa Bay makes the trip to New Orleans. The Buccaneers are really roughed up. A lot of injuries. It is the Saints, though. I think Tampa Bay gets it right again this week. I'm taking the Bucks, playing it safe.
See, I'm trying to pick my shots where New Orleans is going to get just a couple of these wins, and this might be one of them, right? Tampa Bay coming off a big disappointment on a shortish week on prime time. You got beat up by Detroit, and you, like you said, it's the health kind of thing. I'm going to pick New Orleans.
Yeah, there is the. I think it's a pretty crazy stat, like how many players are on roster or on like the injury report after playing Detroit and all that. But I just think Baker Mayfield's too good. Tez Johnson's the MVP of the league, so yeah, I'm going Bucks on this one.
I do have Tez in my dynasty league, but
Same.
I haven't pulled him off my taxi squad yet. I'm getting close with the amount of
Oh,
injuries.
I have six starters on I are on bye and Godwin's hurt. So I'm like, do I pull him up off my taxi squad, but I don't want to drop anyone. I'm like, I don't think Tez is gonna make the difference. So
Same.
just have to take the L here.
It's the
I
same
was
I'm
four
the
and
conversation I'm
one a
I'm
having.
the
couple weeks
highest
ago.
scorer in our league, and I'm gonna be 4-4. Like
Mm.
it's been I've
Wow.
dropped 170 last week, and somehow I'm 4-4.
So there was a couple weeks ago where I had so many injuries, but I had a winning enough record that I just kind of punted. I had a roster spot that I just didn't fill for the week because it was more worth it for me to get my injured guys that I know are good back than to drop someone, and
Yeah.
it's paid off so far. But yeah, 4-4, that's rough. Dallas and the Denver Broncos. The one thing that the Dallas Cowboys can do is play offense. They cannot play defense. The Broncos cannot play offense. They can play defense. Strength on strength, man. Let's go. This will be an interesting game. I'm going to take the Broncos.
I like Denver too. I think that crowd comes out energized after what happened last week. We don't talk about home field advantage a whole lot in the NFL, but I
You
think
can when they're wearing the throwbacks.
and that too. Yeah, I think Denver is just better all around than Dallas, and that
Yeah.
compels me to pick the Broncos.
280 feet. When you walk in that stadium, you see that. So I think Denver wins. I think it will be fairly close, but our pass rush is pretty dang good, even though Dallas's offensive line's kind of getting back to what they've historically been. And I think PS2 matches up well with CD. Riley taking on Pickens will be tough. But if we can get to Dak quick enough, I think it'll be good. I think we also need to stuff Javante so he doesn't have a revenge game. But that'll
Oof.
be interesting. Still, I picked the Broncos. No
You know what
bias
I don't you know what
selection.
I don't see enough of? I saw once on Twitter someone refer to this defense as the Orange Rush in reference to the 70s Orange Crush
Yeah.
nickname. This is a
Oh.
defense that's good enough, and this pass rush has 6+ guys that can all get after you. I love it.
Yeah. I like every time I'm like, man, we just like there it doesn't let up. Top to bottom. Like we were cutting people who I was like, man, like we that's a good pass rusher. How do we let him
Hmm.
get on the practice squad or like get signed elsewhere? So I think we have five really good pass rushers. You have Zach Allen on the D line,
Yeah.
and
I miss Zach.
like we've drafted guys specifically to get internal pressure so that Nick Bodino can do what Von Miller did, where it's just that quarterback's way deep on their drop and can't step up in the pocket. So I hope we break the record. It's fun. It's so fun.
Tennessee makes the trip to Indy. Speaking of not fun to be a Titans fan right now. Colts win and Colts win big. The Colts are contenders. We know at this point they are a dang good football team. Indianapolis may have a say in how things go down in the playoffs.
They're only two one-loss teams, and the Packers are 4-1-1. The Colts are the top of the league, and they will beat the worst team in the league. I don't think that's controversial.
Yeah, Colts. I'm betting against the Titans every week and winning that bet. So
The Aaron Rodgers game. So Pittsburgh will be wearing their 1933 throwbacks with the yellow helmets. The Packers, because they didn't want it to be yellow helmet versus yellow helmet, are wearing their icy all white, including the white helmet. Just a funky uniform matchup for the Aaron Rodgers game in primetime. Look, Aaron Rodgers, we can all say a lot of negative things about him if we choose, but when the man is motivated to win, he comes out swinging, and I think that the Steelers win this game.
yeah, Steelers home field is pretty good. I'm definitely going Steelers on this one. And the Packers have just like been really weird at the beginning of the season. So I can't, I just don't trust them.
I think that's my biggest question. This is the game I think that determines whether Green Bay is fully fraud or not. Did they
Yeah.
just have a bad week against Cleveland? Was the emotion of doubt? Did the Cowboys just play extra motivated because it was Micah Parsons? But they haven't played extremely, extremely well since that opening game against Detroit. Even looking back on the Washington game now, that doesn't pop out as this amazing week two win. I'm taking the Packers. I think Micah Parsons does just enough. Micah really got going against Arizona. I think he does the same thing against Pittsburgh, despite Rodgers absolutely going off.
Gotta feed those tight ends and get out quick.
All three tight ends got touchdowns. What a great and this will be the day after National Tight End Day. Or no, this is Sunday night. So this is the conclusion of National Tight End Day. He's got to get him.
Definitely.
Washington's at Kansas City are, by the way, my brother is going to be at Packers Steelers as a Packer fan, so that should be really interesting. Our buddy Jackson Payne, who writes for the Deseret News and is a frequent guest on the show, is going to be at Washington at Kansas City. Both times he's been to a Commander game this year. Now,
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota's been the starter. Uh, yeah, that's it's not going to be 2-0. Kansas City should win this one pretty easily with how bad Washington's defense is.
Yeah, I love Marcus. He's my hero as an Oregon fan, but Kansas wins this pretty handily.
Yeah, and I'm also picking the Chiefs. And I thought the regression would come for the Commanders this season, but I didn't think it would be this hard. And unfortunately, it's also largely due to a Jaden Daniels injury. So
It's kind of scary how similar Jaden and RG
RG3.
are coming. I hope they kind of just, hey, let's make sure you get healthy before they bring him out because this is the second or third time that he's had like a leg hamstring injury.
and the knock on Jaden Daniels coming into the league was that he plays reckless and he just invites these kind of hits a lot the way that Jaxson Dart is playing right now. So fingers crossed for our Utah guy. But
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels isn't getting injured on reckless bad plays by him. He just sometimes your knees give out, sometimes your hamstrings tighten up, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, the Giants are fun, like you said, that Jackson Dart kind of thing. And I've talked to friends, they're like, yeah, this will be like a super fun 4 seasons. Like, dude, that's generous. Like,
If they get four,
this is a year and
and
a
this
half.
season's
Like,
gonna still be cellar dweller and like
yeah, yeah. So I think it's fun. I think we've got a lot of interesting teams. And then I think there's just a lot of these mediocre quarterbacks on huge contracts that are really kind of screwing it over and like figuring it out. I've been reading this book. It's right here.
Oh,
It goes up. It's called The League. Let me see. I can get my background. But it's about the founding of the league. And it's interesting. Back in like 1919, they're like, we need to make offenses more interesting. Like, how do we get like the quarterback and slinging the ball, like trying to compete with college football? So this quarterback issue's been a thing since like the beginning, like pre-World War One and the Great Depression. Um, and like contracts and everything and what do you do there, the salary cap. So it'll be interesting. Like the Saints, like I swear, for since I was in high school, the Saints have been 90 million over cap. And somehow they keep like extending these things out. So I think a lot of teams are gonna come to a conclusion, but there's not a lot of great like quarterbacks coming out this draft. There are a lot coming out, and people are like, oh, they're projecting like 6 quarterbacks to be drafted in this class.
mm,
Like,
but
what
are
do you
any of them
do?
good? Yeah.
as a Cardinals fan who is now wants to move on officially, it's time to move on from Kyler. Like that's just the last 2 weeks have proven that. Like you just need someone different. There's no one I love coming out of the draft that's like a sure, like this guy's got a chance to be, but then
Mhm.
what do you do? Do you just stick with Jacoby Brissett? Do you
Yeah.
You
I
Davis
mean,
Mills it for a couple of years with a couple different coaches until you can get CJ Stroud. I think that the Cardinals thing is interesting because I wish that the franchise, the team, could figure out how to give him a Baker resurgence without having to have him leave and go like because the Browns, the right decision would have been Baker, right? But and mostly that decision was made because he was injured and then he was trying to play through the injury. So there were like complicating factors. But
Mhm.
Browns fans would rather have the current version of Baker than anything that they have now, definitely. But
Yeah.
like so but can we figure out how to motivate a guy and just have the regime around him change while the franchise gets to keep him? I don't know if that's even possible. Like Kyler could still turn around and be great, but maybe not for Arizona.
Yeah. Mac Jones is getting paid next year. He's definitely going to be the
He's gonna
number
get
one.
that Daniel Jones money.
Yeah, and
Daniel
then you're
Jones
gonna
is going to be getting Tua money, and Tua is going to be getting, Walmart cashier money.
yeah. I mean, he's locked in for another 3 years. I bet you see I don't think JJ's the guy. I've said this since the like watching him on that national championship run. I'm like, why does everyone think this guy's amazing? Like he throws the ball 16 times. So I bet Carson Wentz starts most of the season. And if KOC
ooh,
can rehab him, it could be something where he's a starter. And then I don't know, there's like a couple. How Malik Willis isn't if Malik Willis hits free agency, I bet he gets signed up because he's balled out every time he's gone in, and he's been in the LaFleur, Shanahan tree, so I could see that. I bet a lot of backups get another shot, and people go there.
it's
Dante Moore, great, but I think he's gonna stay in. Like if he's smart, he'll stay another year, and he did that. Like he sat behind Dylan Gabriel. I think he's got a ton of potential, but if he just like stayed for another year, developed, and then went into the 2027 draft or whatever that is, I think he'd be great.
a
But you
copycat
got to
league.
wait a year. You got to wait a year.
Yeah. Well, Doss, appreciate you, my man. Always fun to catch up. We After what happened last week, I'm like, we even though we just had a Broncos fan on 2 weeks ago, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is worth getting back on. They're the closest team
Absolutely.
regionally outside of Vegas, and obviously a lot of Bronco fans listen to our show. So appreciate you hopping on, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Yeah.
Cole, always fun, brother. Where are you going this week? Are you guys together, by the way, on
No,
high school?
I'm going to Africa, so
That's
I
And
will
then I
see
got
you
Halloween after that, and
guys.
Doss is the kind that's gonna have Halloween plans. But high school football,
Africa.
it's playoffs. It's
still in
first week of
Africa.
playoffs.
Still
Yeah,
in
so
Africa. My game's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon this Friday,
That's
and
when my Halloween game is. I've got 6 o'clock this week at Salem Hills, but then next week it's 4 o'clock.
the fact that I'll be home in time. It's just over in Mount Pleasant too, so short drive for me.
Right on.
I'll be home by like 7:15, 7:30. Can watch most of BYU North Carolina basketball. I like a good football matinee
Yeah.
on a Friday. So Cole, appreciate you, my man. Enjoy the weekend, and yeah, we'll
You
see
too.
how this short week with not a lot of games turns out. Once again, you've been tuned in to Wilk and Wiss, your bi-weekly update on Utah athletes in the National Football League. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe on our YouTube channel.